Welcome to Spam Filter for Your Brain, bite-sized ponderings on how our thoughts influence our behaviour and our lives, and because we're all connected, how our thoughts impact the world. I'm here to help people reconnect with their bodies and declutter their brains. And I don't believe that we should just magically know how our emotions and our thoughts impact our lives if no one ever teaches us. So let's learn this stuff together. Sometimes you see those things going around the internet of what would you say to yourself if you were 13? What would you look back on and wish that someone had told you, or older you advises to the younger you? And there's lots of sort of trite little things and lots of things that we all sort of know and feel that come up when I see those threads or those things being passed around. And I quite often try and sort of hone in on one particular message that came up for me when I was thinking about how I quite often used to use self-help and self-development work and trying to overanalyze all of these big thoughts and big feelings going on and where to place them. Something that I think I used to use that stuff as an escape route. My God, it was hard hitting when I realised that you could actually numb out with self-help. Try and use that as a distraction technique to not have to feel all of the feelings. That was a bit of a blow to realise what I was doing there. Managing to catch myself out by reading all of the books on the things so I didn't have to feel the things I was reading the books about. And I think if I could sort of hone all of the work that I have done to get me to a place where generally, even when life gets really, really hard, I don't feel too knocked about by it. I'm able to sort of sit in it and go, yeah, this is tough, or this feels quite painful. And it's meant to. This bit of life is meant to be quite tricky. And I can see it for what it is rather than feeling like I'm drowning or I'm going to be lost in it forever. And if I could sort of hone all of the work that it took to get me to a place where generally I feel quite stable no matter what's going on around me, it would be to not disappear on myself. Don't try and lose yourself. I'm sort of talking weirdly first and third person, come with me on the journey. Like, don't try and lose yourself in the people around you in the hope that it will give you validation. Don't try and lose yourself into the work so that you can sort of come out the other side of it looking like you are part of the solution and you have merged into it like some kind of repetitive trope of some sort of self-care help mantra. Don't disappear on yourself into your work so that you think that if you manage to get to some level of financial solvency that you'll feel safe, or that things just won't be so hard. Don't disappear in yourself so that you're willing to screw yourself over physically for the sake of both trying to keep your head above water and also to try and be what other people expect you to be, even if that's something you've created for yourself. Don't overstretch yourself so much that you become transparent and there's nothing there left of substance for you to either come home to or for other people to recognise in the person that they love. I think it's this not disappearing on yourself image that really holds me to just keep checking in and making sure that, you know, no matter what else is going on, like, have I got a solid outline? Is there enough of me left to colour in with some crayons? If I felt the urge and frivolity, where is it that I am ever so occasionally still prone to emptying myself into other people in the hope that it will win me an emotion that I haven't yet granted to myself? Where is it that I pour myself into my work in the hope that if I can just get a few more people on a course, or if I can just, sign off a particular proposal or a contract, then I'll feel safe. It always comes down to feeling safe. Where do I pour myself into the action of trying to think that I can do all of these things around me, this kind of frantic energy, so that I can fill up this hole that has been left by me just not being willing to sort of sit and be with who I am and what I'm feeling and what's going on for me, the more I keep bringing it home, the more I keep checking in with what my emotions are, what I'm feeling, what are the thoughts that are causing that, what is the emotions that are surrounding my world right now and running through me. And I don't need to escape to try and create myself somewhere else or to try and create some validation from something or someone else. I'm able to just sit with who I am. And when you can get to a place where you, maybe it's a little bit of age as well, I'm just old enough to know that this is the story I've got and I'm pretty comfortable with it. It's a very, very exciting roller coaster of a ride. And when life's at its toughest, I do try and remind myself that if this was a film, I'd probably go and see it. So this is my little thought nudge for you for the week. Where are you disappearing on yourself? And is there anywhere where you'd like to maybe bring it back, check in with yourself and get those outlines a little bit stronger? I hope that you are taking very good care of yourself, and if you need any support filling up your own cup, then I can definitely teach you some great tools to help you get there. Do reach out for one of the courses or just drop me an email. Speak to you next week. Hey, I just wanted to dip in at the end of the podcast and just explain what my pricing structure is, because I know that lots of people find accessible pricing a little bit tricky to get their head around. And it's easier if I explain it to you rather than reading it sometimes. Quite often I think when we look at courses or things that we would like to do, our automatic default is I can't afford that, without actually looking at what the cost is. And I try and make sure that all of my work is available to the people who need it most. So the way that I operate my courses and my photography is that I have a price for people who can afford it, and I have a price which is concessions for people who need that concession price. And for all of my live coaching courses, I offer a free space for folk who need it, who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford self-care work. The reason that I do this is because I think that I really believe with all of my heart that self-care work and these kind of tools to manage our minds shouldn't be just saved for people who can afford it. And therefore, I also offer the pricing available for folk who can afford it to be able to pay it forward and try and help support me in my mission to be able to make this work as accessible to as many people who need it as possible. And in this way, you manage to link your well-being and your self-development and your self-care into that of community well-being and community care and supporting other people, which is both very useful to be able to keep the whole system and structure going, but actually is a sneaky little brain hack to try and navigate around that idea that you shouldn't be doing this work because it's all navel-gazing self-indulgence. And this actually shows that you doing your work helps and benefits more people. So I hope that's a useful thing to know. I've had a bit of feedback from people not actually realising that there are scholarship bursary places available for the courses. And I just want you to know that if you need this and you are worried about paying your bills and you know that doing this kind of work could just help you feel like this is, like things are okay or things are going to be possible, or you just feel like you're reaching for a rope ladder at the moment, maybe the course could be it, and maybe there is a space waiting for you here. And by taking up that space, you are helping all of us. Taking up that space is not taking a space away from other people. There is not a cap on the number of people who I offer scholarships to. You taking up that space encourages other people to be able to centre their self-care. So I hope that's useful for you, and I would love to see you inside. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast here, I would love to invite you to Self-Care School. Self-Care School is a membership site where we have group coaching calls every week. We have a whole load of courses that you can dip into for whatever suits your needs. We have courses on confidence, body image, timekeeping, how to manage big emotions, overwhelm, loads and loads of stuff in there. You can kind of pick out whatever you want to work on. There is a big library of workbooks, which includes journal prompts and questions for you to be able to apply this work to your own life. And we have the most amazing community where people support each other. We learn from each other, and you get to work alongside people with quite often very different life situations to your own, and we learn so much together in community. If you would like some more of this, please do hop over to selfcareschool.co.uk.